Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sporting Perspective. It is Thanksgiving week, therefore, we got a lot of sports to talk about: college football, NFL, and college basketball, NBA. Tons of great sports this week while we're all getting fat on food. But we'll just jump right on into it, and let's talk some college football. And we're going to start with the new reveal of the college football playoff. Not a lot of moving around in the top 10, but James, did anything stand out to you?
Yeah, the only thing I wrote down was Miami. I mean, right now they have them slotted in, I think, at 11. I don't have the bracket pulled up
12.
currently.
12. They're at 12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they have them. They have them in there, and as we've talked about outside the show, and for all the listeners, Miami doesn't really have a shot. I mean, they have a chance. They need a lot to fall their way. The ACC's been a mess, which to some people they love. To non-ACC fans of teams who have a chance to make it, it's a there's a lot of scenarios. Miami has a tough one. It's looking like it's probably going to be either Virginia or SMU,
Mm.
barring some catastrophic loss. They'll be in the ACC championship, and then I would think one of those two teams would go. So yeah, the only thing I have really, the only gripe I have would be they slot Miami in right this second, but it probably isn't going to be Miami.
Yeah. Outside of the ACC jumble, as an Oregon fan, I was happy to see them beat USC and then leapfrog into that sixth spot. It's kind of where I want Oregon to be in that 5 or 6 spot because they're not going to get a bye. But this year, really, your 11 and 12 seed look like they're going to be pretty weak. ACC is not great, and whoever comes out of that Power Five doesn't look like it's going to be much of a threat compared to like Boise State last year, where I know they didn't win a game, but they were still, oh my goodness, they're a tough team, a tough out. I don't think the ACC Big Five teams are going to give much of a difficult first matchup, especially since they're going to have to go on the road. So I was happy to see Oregon leap up there. It's going to be super interesting to see what happens in the ACC. And then one thing I think that is interesting because it's just kind of weird how it's being managed at this point is this Lane Kiffin situation where I'm sure you've heard them saying, "Oh, you have a deadline to tell us if you're going to stay or not." It sounds like LSU's really the contender there, but like at the exact same time, he could take the Giants job. And then I even heard a rumor this morning that because of the deadline that Ole Miss put on him, there's a possibility he may not coach in the playoffs, which is maddening to me.
Yeah, personally, my my opinion on the matter, I think he should stay.
Yeah.
I think if he took the LSU job, he's selling out for the money. The big thing with LSU is that he'll just fall into just another coach, kind of like Brian Kelly, where if he doesn't win in like 4 to 5 years, they might just out him. And sure,
Yeah.
his opt out and buyout clause will be massive. And money wouldn't be not that money really is an issue for him right now, but money would definitely not be an issue. But I just think he's got such a great setup at Ole Miss. It's not a lot of pressure, and not to mention I mean, he's in the playoffs with Ole Miss
Yeah.
as of right now. The pressure though with Ole Miss from every other or most other SEC teams, I feel like isn't as great. It's not an Alabama, it's not a LSU. Um, I just think that it's not a Georgia.
Yeah.
He just has such a good setup there, and he has a an opportunity to really become a legacy coach, if not maybe the greatest coach in Ole Miss history, if he just stays there. And if Ole Miss is smart, I don't know if they can match the money that LSU would be throwing at him, but get him re-signed, work some like really good incentives in for him, and keep him because I I don't know how much better you can get than Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss.
Yeah. And it's pretty much what you said. I mean, the only place I could see him jumping to, I think him going to another SEC job would be dumb and a mistake and all that stuff. The only job I look at and I say he might make the jump and he could do it after the playoffs would be that Giants job because Jackson Dart's there. They are very young. And we know Lane Kiffin loves the spotlight, and there's no bigger spotlight than the New York Giants. And that's if he has the itch to get back into the NFL.
Yeah, that would make a little more sense because then even if that doesn't go as planned and he's fired with the Giants in a couple of years, you can
Yeah,
just go back down to college. I don't know if he would. He could maybe pull like an Ed Orgeron and just go back to Ole Miss. Maybe if that, they don't really hire someone to take on the future post Lane Kiffin if he were to move to the Giants. But if he
yeah,
were to go to LSU and then get fired after a couple years, I don't I I don't know. I feel like that would just kind of tarnish him a little bit, and he'd have to maybe go back to like an FAU, like he had to do
yeah,
post USC to then
yeah.
even have the opportunity to go to Ole Miss. So personally, I just think it'd be dumb if he left.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, let's jump into some games this week. As I said, it's Thanksgiving week, so there's games all Thursday, Friday, Saturday. NFL Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. Games everywhere. You're gonna have a lot to watch, and it's rivalry week, which is also a great time. So this episode is really going to be about the rivalries going forward here. But we'll jump into it. A couple games on Friday. We're going to talk about heading down to the state of Georgia. Number 4 Georgia taking on number 23, Georgia Tech. It's at Georgia Tech. They had that unfortunate loss last week. Kind of dimmed this game a little bit, but who do you have here?
So actually, I looked this up. It's actually in the dome. It's at the Georgia
Oh,
Dome.
oh, nice.
So it's
Okay,
kind of sort of a neutral, but I
okay.
mean Georgia Tech's in Atlanta, so it will be at the Mercedes Dome. I still like Georgia in this game. Georgia obviously needs to win this to keep their top four, get a bye in the playoff. I was really high on Georgia Tech just a couple weeks ago. I really thought they had a chance to just dominate the ACC and be the ACC representative, but they've kind of fallen off. I don't even think, now that I think about it, I don't really think they even have a chance really anymore. So they get to play spoiler. It is a rivalry game, but it's going to be tough. I mean, they're only getting up for this game to try to beat their rival in Georgia, and they're not even in the same conference. So it's like it's kind of an odd game. I'm taking Georgia here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Georgia as well. They've been just kind of sneakily, just going by. Not a lot of people are talking about them. This is a scary Georgia team that has just kind of flown as a 4 seed, which is weird. Kind of a little under the radar, which is really weird. Also, for the people in Georgia, congratulations because it is at the Mercedes Benz Dome. You'll have Chick-fil-A open for this game.
That is true. It is not on a Sunday, so they can
Yeah.
enjoy that. Simulation had Georgia winning 23-17.
Okay. Lower than I thought, but nice. Let's renew a rivalry that hasn't happened, or I don't know if it happened last year. It might have happened last year, but it took about 10 years to get back on track. As Texas was in the Big 12 and Texas A&M was in the SEC. You know where we're going here, undefeated. Number 3, Texas A&M heading to Austin to take on number 16, Texas. This is a sneaky, hated rivalry. These two teams really hate each other.
Yeah, and I'm taking the upset. It's at Texas. They're going to be fired up to want to knock off their rival, give them their first loss on the season. A&M looked a little sketchy. I know it was at South Carolina, and they ended up pulling out the win, but probably not the game script they were hoping for that day. I think this is the game where Arch Manning finally has the numbers and I don't know what other word to use. This is a game where he finally says, "All right, enough with the shitty teams and me putting up good numbers. Let me put up good numbers against a good team." Honestly, I think Arch he's had an okay season. It's not bad. It's not good, but he just got so much hype. Manning's on the back of his jersey. He was, betting odds favorite for the Heisman at the beginning of the year. It just hasn't really gone his way. But, if you really want to light up the NFL scouts and if you do end up going into the draft this year. I mean, the quarterback class is kind of weird.
Mhm.
He has a shot to still be maybe a top 5, top 4, maybe even a top 3 quarterback in the draft. So throw out a good performance here, and you might vault yourself back up into, first round, maybe even early second round consideration. So I am taking Texas.
Yeah, I'm actually also going to take Texas here. Texas A&M didn't look great last week. Had a crazy comeback to reel that thing back in. Or was that 2 weeks ago now? My goodness,
It
that might have
might
been
have
two
been,
weeks ago.
yeah, I don't even know.
Jesus,
Weeks are
that
just,
was yeah,
might have
man.
been
The
2 weeks
week
ago.
Dang, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that was the 30. Yeah, that was yeah. But granted, Eli, not Eli, Jesus, Arch Manning had actually a good week last week. He's been improving. I think exactly what you just said. At home, this is going to help. A lot of the statements you said, actually, I was going to say. So I won't repeat it. But I'm actually also going Texas. I just think Texas A&M is going to slip up.
Simulation has a close one. Texas A&M winning 20-17.
Okay, close. All right. Third game we're talking about also on Friday, the Territorial Cup, which I think I know where you're going to lean on this one. Number 25, Arizona, finally getting into the rankings, going up against number 20, Arizona State. It's. I didn't do my research on this. I should have. I don't remember the last time both of these teams are in top 25 matching up against each other. I can't. It can't be recent. Um, uh,
No.
this doesn't come to mind, but kind of cool to see both these teams in the top 25.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Arizona can play spoiler. I know there's a long shot for ASU to get to that Big 12 title game. They also need some stuff to fall their way. Um, Honestly, ASU's a good team. They're well coached. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about them uh, when I normally would. I still hate them, and I still hope they just get absolutely destroyed. I am picking Arizona to win. I just, with what I've seen out of this Arizona team, I mean they're putting up a top 10 defense, and their offense is humming, which scares me that our offensive coordinator Seth Dagey could. I mean, he's a young dude. He's like 35 years old. Offensive genius. So hopefully he stays and gets re-signed under Brent Brennan. But yeah, I know we're on the road. I know it's in Tempe. It's going to be hostile. I just like Arizona a little more. If Sam Levitt was playing, I would honestly maybe favor ASU. But Jeff Sims and what I saw when he was at Nebraska, I mean, he was literally like the Daniel Jones of college football, just like averaged a fumble every single game or threw a pick. He's been a little better this year. Obviously, he has better talent, I think, with guys like Jordan Tyson. Um, but I'm not. I can't not pick the Wildcats, so bear down.
Yeah, I'm going to take Arizona as well. They've been playing really good football, and I don't have really much else to say. ASU's season's felt like a disappointment, while U of A's has felt like a success. So I'm going to take Arizona.
It's crazy because Arizona's 8-3, and their only true like bad loss would be Iowa State. The other two losses, one being Houston and the other being BYU, they very much could have won those, and
Yeah,
they could have been 10-1 and probably they would have been in the playoffs, in
yeah,
these projections. So it's crazy how a couple breaks don't go your way and you're 8-3. But I mean, I'm still really really happy with what Arizona's done. I'm not happy about the simulation though because it has Arizona State winning 35-20.
jeez, oof. All right, let's flip over to a couple games on Saturday. Probably one of the most famous rivalries is where we're going to start. Number one, Ohio State heading to the Big House to take on number 15, Michigan. If you don't remember last year, Michigan took down Ohio State, and then Ohio State hasn't lost a game since. But who do you have in this top 15 rivalry game?
I'm taking Ohio State. I really wanted to take Michigan. They've won, I want to say, the last 4 years in a row. Ohio State's bugaboo just is that they can't beat Michigan. And to
Mhm.
some Ohio State fans, that's resulted in, can Ryan Day. Just get rid of him. He's no good, even though they're coming off a national championship. Um, but to some people in this rivalry, both sides, this is their national championship, regardless of what Michigan goes on to do, or regardless of what Ohio State goes on to do. Um, I just think the streak ends. Ohio State's really good. You haven't heard a lot about them. We've talked about that last week. They're like the most non talked about number one team in the country. I can't not pick them to win, so I'm picking Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Just Ohio State's the number one team in the country. They played that way all year. Michigan's good, but we've also seen Michigan kind of fall asleep at times. Granted, I mean it's a rivalry game, so you have to show up, but just Ohio State's been more consistent. So Ohio State.
Simulation has Ohio State winning 37-34.
Oh, okay. Battle of Tennessee, number 14 Vanderbilt going on to take on the University of Tennessee, number 19 in Knoxville. This is going to be an interesting one. This is another one of those matchups. You don't see both teams ranked in the top 25 when they match up against each other.
That'd be interesting to know. I don't know if this has ever happened.
Yeah.
I mean Vanderbilt's having a season of the ages, and I think that continues with a win. I'm picking Vanderbilt. I'm picking Diego Pavia. I love the guy. I love his mentality. Every week we talk about Vanderbilt. He gets mentioned and compared to Baker Mayfield. Have that kind of that dog energy. It's like him and John Mateer are just kind of like they'll go to war for you, and you gotta love that if you're a head coach. But yeah, I know it's on the road. I know Tennessee's a tough place to play. That place will be rocking. But they've had a weird season. Aguilar's been good. I do like their quarterback, but I'm going to take Vanderbilt, and I think Vanderbilt puts pressure on the committee on what to do with them.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and that's why I want Vanderbilt to win. Is purely the fact of they're probably the team looking on the outside, looking in right now. That is the one I would love to see the most, and has a resume behind it, and it has a chance to make an argument for it. They would have to get somehow in the top 10, which is going to be really hard, but the first road to do it is just taking care of your own business and beating Tennessee. Therefore, I want Vanderbilt to win.
Simulation has Tennessee winning 27-12.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we just talked about a whole bunch of games that are happening this week. There's a bunch of other rivalries that are happening this week that are great as well. Wow, that's interesting.
Yep, phone's ringing.
Yeah, phone's ringing. Huh. All right. Well, we'll continue. We're gonna do. All right, whatever. We'll do a top 10 of the best college football rivalries, and we'll just jump right on into it. Number 5, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, number 5, I threw down. Shout out to the troops. Army Navy.
Fair.
They get their own day. They literally
Yeah.
have their own day where that's the only game on that you can
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. It's always a cool tradition. Yeah, that's. I'll spoiler it right now. That's somewhere in my top 5. But at number 5, it's not at 5. Number 5, I've got the Civil War. Oregon State. It's been played since the late 1800s. I can make an argument that Oregon's big rivalry game currently is Washington, but this is a rivalry game that goes back now over 120 years, 130 years, which is a long time. Therefore, it's at 5.
Number 4, I threw down the Red River rivalry. Say that 5 times fast. Texas, Oklahoma, 2 schools that if you're not a fan of them, you probably don't like. However, when that game's on, you do end up tuning into it. And it's played at the Cotton Bowl. It's never
Yep.
traditionally played at either Texas or Oklahoma, so neutral site in Dallas, and yeah, it's always fun to watch 2 teams that hate each other play. So
Yeah, agreed. So my number 4, I have unfortunately a game that looks like it's going to be discontinued, but it just brings a lot of eyeballs and seems to always have playoff championship implications connected to it. So many stars have played in the game. USC, Notre Dame, just always a game that gets a lot of buzz, and just the amount of superstars that have played at these 2 schools. it's a long list. So I got that at 4.
Number 3, I have the Iron Bowl, Bama versus Auburn. Uh, when it comes to the history of football, obviously Alabama is at the top. Auburn has its years here and there, but this game I feel like is always just a grind. It's just you never know who's gonna win. You get weird stuff that happens, like that one field goal that was short that was returned all the way for a touchdown. You have weird passes that get batted in the air by a defender and just drop right into the wide receiver's hands and for a touchdown. So yeah, always just a fun game. When I think of like the Friday after Thanksgiving,
Mm.
I just think of this game. I don't know if it's actually being played on Friday. I think it might be on Saturday this year, but
Yep.
I feel like for a while it used to always be on Friday. But
Yep.
anyways, always just a fun, hard nosed SEC match.
Yep. That was my number 6. My number 3 is one you already talked about, Army Navy. As you said, it's the last regular season football game of the season. It's got its own Saturday. Super fun, super traditional, and it's really cool to see everyone in uniform. Um, it's been played for years. It's just kind of an American tradition at this point. So I have it at 3.
And both teams are like decent now. Like
That's yeah.
Navy's been like a good team the last couple of years. Blake Horvath, good
Mm.
quarterback. My number 2 is the game, Michigan Ohio State. Um, Probably the two school. I mean, I'm trying to think of two schools that hate each other more than
Yep.
Michigan and Ohio State. I mean, you talk to anyone on either side, and they bash the state. It's like, who was it? There's a running back. I'm not gonna think of even who it was, but there was a running back for Michigan, and they talked about like going on a road trip and driving through Ohio, and he's like, no, we can go around, like we can go under Ohio. Like, it's just a fun game. Both iconic stadiums, um, and both teams are always. I mean, they're always good. I can't think of a year when like either team is bad, and even when Michigan is having like a bad season, they're still like ranked, and it's tough for me to comprehend sometimes when you're an Arizona fan and getting ranked is a big deal. So yeah, Michigan Ohio State number 2.
All right, so I'm going to do my 2 and 1 before you do your 1 since you've already mentioned my top 2. At 2, I have Texas, Oklahoma. I was going to double up everything that you said. I'm just going to add one thing. I think it's really cool that that game is always centered around the state fair. I think that's really
Mm.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other game that has that feature where literally the game is part of the state fair. So I just wanted to add that too, but everything you said, double up on. And then number 1, I have Michigan, Ohio State. Two teams that absolutely hate each other. It's one of those things that's super funny when you look back to it. Last year, Ohio State wins the national championship, but they're still like it was a unsuccessful season because we lost to Michigan. It's just chaos. So those are my top 2.
My number 1 is one that's near and dear to my heart, the
Yep.
Territorial Cup. Um, Honestly, for a state like Arizona, it's been going on for a long
Yeah.
time. Uh, it's pretty even. I think Arizona still technically holds the record, which is funny because ASU fans think of themselves as this huge football school, and it's like, okay, football's a bigger deal for you guys than maybe Arizona, where Arizona's a basketball school, but it's not like you guys are like all that great. So, um, any ASU fans get at me, I don't care.
How many
But
territorial cups? How many territorial cups have you been to?
oh wow, I haven't been to one in a while. I mean, I feel like I was going every year from like age like 13 on. Um, Has to be double digits, I would think. Just
Okay.
with, I mean, obviously with in college, I probably went
Yeah.
to. Well, I don't know if I went to every single one since they go back and forth. Obviously, Tempe and Tucson. But yeah, it still has to be double digits, I would think.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
it's
one year
fun.
where, so senior year of high school, my cousin Austin was getting recruited by ASU. So we went to that territorial cup game, and I got to sit with him in like the recruiting section. So we were
Oh,
like
that's cool. Nice.
3, 4 rows up from
Yeah,
like the ground. We were just with a bunch of other like high school recruits. I was just there for fun,
yeah.
um, but yeah, that was a fun one. Trying to think if there's any other. I don't know. There's been a lot of weird stuff. The Zendejas missed kicks for both sides. There's always a Zendejas kicking at either U of A or ASU. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
just think it's a
Cool.
it's a fun one.
It's always a fun one. So, all right. Well, before we sign off here, anything you want to jump into, or are we good here for this college football weekend?
I think we're good.
Sweet. All right. Well, I don't have anything to add. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early, Thanksgiving Day. Um, yeah, not much to add. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bear down.